G'day trendsetters. In today's video we're going to be planting this slightly sad tomato tomato that I purchased this morning from Bunnings. I think it's a little bit elongated, as in it's stretched and grown possibly too long in a shady like environment. So not a real big issue, but just something to be aware of. So I will be planting it at least, let's say, a third of it below the soil height of the pot in the ground to give it more stability, but also because tomatoes are notorious for creating what's known as an adventurous root system. So it will produce a root system all the way along that stem that I plant below the ground, therefore giving it a greater ability to hold itself sturdy, although it will be staked, but also to extract more nutrient and moisture from the soil. But it's very dry. So I've mixed up some liquid fertilizer. You can use your own favorite fertilizer. This is just the one I use. And I'm going to soak this poor little guy. It is fairly dry, which is pretty normal for a Bunnings plant. And 15, 20 minutes is long enough, half an hour. It doesn't really matter how long you put it in there. It's a bit low. I'll just put a bit more in. And apart from wetting the plant and the soil, it'll also, just that little bit of nutrient in the liquid fertilizer will help reduce the amount of transplant shock coming out of this pot into the soil. So that's possibly step one. Step two will be soil preparation. And I've got a little patch picked up around the back of the shed here, and you can go up there and we can do a little bit of soil preparation and explain what I'm doing, and then we'll get into the planting. Oh. Okay, that's not coming up too bad. I have just added a bucket of compost to this area, and also a couple of handfuls of this gigantic, they call it fertilizer, it's a pelletized chicken manure from ℙ𝕃𝕼𝔼𝕊, and I'm using it because of the NPK ratio, which you'll find generally on the side of packets. And this one is nitrogen. You've got just 3 macronutrients, which are nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Now you don't want too much nitrogen because that will just give you all growth at the expense of flowers and fruit. Phosphorus, I'm saying at the moment, there's nearly always more than enough in the soil as it is, but this is 3.8, so it's a percentage per weight. So let's say for every 100 grams you've got 3.8 grams of phosphorus, 7.1 grams of nitrogen, and potassium, which is used for flowering and fruit set, and it's at 9.2. So we've got a higher potassium than we have nitrogen, which is what you pretty much generally want for growing potatoes, tomatoes, anything that'll produce a fruit or a tube or something like that. Raspberries, hundreds of things. Raspberries, what else? Well, all your fruit trees, roses, on and on it goes. I also use blood and bone, but I'll use that a lot on leafy vegetables, which is like your cabbage, lettuce and others like that. But in this case, tomatoes. And just one other thing I wanted to share with you. This is what a bloke wrote about the tomato. And he says, tomato. Not only are tomatoes regarded as one of the most flavoursome heirloom tomatoes, the plant is also resistant to many diseases and is largely unaffected by heat or humidity. We get plenty of that here later on in the year. Growing to around 1.4 to 1.8 metres tall and producing plenty of juicy cherry tomatoes, tomatoes are a sure winner for any garden. So, in he goes. Go get him. This is the easy part, and it's also the fun part. So for some reason, the easy part is always the fun part. What I need to do, I'm going to plant this guy just below this leaf. So that's probably half at least, but I need to pinch these little leaves and buds off the side. All right, and I'm going to bury it that deep. I think I've already explained why I'm doing that, so I won't go through that again. And the easy and fun part is also pretty much the simplest part. Right down, there you go, look at that. Beautiful. So there's that leaf there again. I don't want to go any further than that. Firm it down, not too bad. I'm not going to, some people heel them in with their shoes. I've never done that. I'm just happy just to press down and firm them in. That'll be more than enough. So what we have to do next is give that a really good drink. I'll get that watering can of pre-prepared liquid fertilizer and I'll do that. And we'll come back for stage 4 and stage 5 of planting a tomato seedling. All right. Second last but not least, staking. Now, clearly it doesn't need to be staked right now, but it's best to do it now rather than when the plant's grown or a little bit more established. That way you're not trying to drive this down through a fresh root system where you're going to tear and break things and possibly leave entry roots for pests and diseases. So we do it now, and it's not that hard, but it's not tall enough. I need it up here somewhere. So a little bit further down the line, I will zip tie this bamboo to this stake, and I'll be able to tie my tomato all the way up to there if need be. Okay, staking. You don't have to use bamboo, you can use anything. You can get little square metal tubing, I don't know what you call it, and you can cut it up into lengths. It'll fit over there and it'll fit on the other side of another stake, and you can have it as high as, there's 100 different ways of staking. I've also half thinking I might cage this bloke for an experiment, but I haven't made up my mind yet. If I do, then I'll make a video about that. So, the last tip, number 5, mulching. Lastly but not leastly, it's not a bad idea to mulch your tomatoes. Now, I'm going all out. I'm going to give this bloke a hell of a treat. I'm using ℏ dung, which is actually a feeding mulch. My idea is that they spread the mulch out in the bottom of free-range chicken sheds. Then they rake it all up, compost it, do a few other magic things with it, and it comes in a bag. It's quite expensive-ish, I suppose, as a mulch, but it is a feeding mulch, so there's that side of it. But as I said, this is a special treat for this tomato. You can use anything else you like. You can use sugarcane mulch, cow manure even as a mulch, lawn clippings mixed with cow manure, whatever you like, just give them a mulch. Also, I'll only lightly mulch at this stage. In another couple of months, when it's getting up, reaching for the sky, I will reapply and have another mulch because it's a feeding mulch, so it'll give another chance to get a bit of a feed. The only other issue I have with mulching is it can become hydrophobic or form a crust. So when you're watering, usually with the nozzle on your hose, the water tends to run off and away from the mulch and not into the soil. So it's just something to watch. Just after you've watered, have a scratch around, see if the water's gone through your mulch and into the soil. If it has, all good. If it hasn't, then you need to break it all up and open it up so as the water can penetrate the mulch and get into the soil. Probably one of the biggest reasons why a lot of plants that have been mulched fail is because the water is not getting through the mulch and into the soil. Just something to watch. So this is dead easy. There. So I'm going to go about an inch, 25 mils deep, and probably 300 odd mils around. For now, I will increase that with the next application of mulch. It's a little bit on the nose if you're not real keen on the aroma. I don't know what you can do. Get your kids out or something. I probably wouldn't mind the smell, who knows. But just be warned, it does have this has quite a chicken shed aroma, obviously. All right, I'll finish that off. In the meantime, if you've enjoyed this video, found it useful or in any way, then by all means, please like and subscribe. It helps everything to go around and grow the channel, which is what we're trying to do, apart from growing tomatoes, good veggies. And we'll keep you informed as I go on through the season, how he's going. ℙ𝕃𝔼𝔸𝕊. Maybe you can get a name for him, or do we just keep calling him Tommy? That's it. Done. I might get another stake there, and I'll show you that in another video anyhow, but for now, that's fine. All right, cheers, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.